My parents gave my $8 million dream house to my brother 3 days before closing. Not after I signed the papers. Not after I moved in. Not after they had helped me carry one box, hang one curtain, or pay $1 toward the deposit. They gave it to him while my name was already on the purchase agreement, while my money was already locked in escrow, while the bank had already approved my loan, while the inspection report sat in my email, while I was at the furniture store choosing the dining table I wanted to use for my first peaceful Christmas. My name is Naomi Bennett. I was 38 years old when I found out that my parents had invited Marcus, my older brother, to walk through my dream house with a designer, a moving company, and his wife Tasha. Like the home I had spent years working toward was some family prize waiting for the loudest person to claim it. The house was called Willowmere, a stone estate on a quiet road outside Bellwater, with tall windows, a long driveway, a library with a fireplace, a kitchen full of morning light, a garden that rolled toward the lake, and a wide back terrace where I had already imagined myself drinking tea without anyone calling my name to fix a problem I did not create. It was not just expensive, it was personal. I had first seen Willowmere when I was 16, riding in the back seat of Grandma Ruth's old car. We were delivering food baskets to a sick woman who lived near the lake. I remember pressing my face to the window as we passed the gate. "Grandma," I whispered, "who lives there?" She looked at the house and smiled. Someone who knew how to hold on. I did not understand what she meant then. I only knew the house looked like safety. Not flashy safety, quiet safety. A place with enough space for breathing. A place where doors closed gently. A place where nobody could push you into the smallest room because your brother needed the bigger one. Years later, after building Bennett ClearPath Solutions into a company people finally respected, after surviving a divorce, after paying off debts that were not mine, after helping my family again and again until help began to feel like being slowly erased, I saw Willowmere listed for sale. $8 million. The number almost made me close the page. Then I sat still. I looked at the photos, the library, the lake, the sunroom, the old stone walls, the bedroom with windows facing the trees, and I heard Grandma Ruth's voice in my memory. "Naomi, one day buy the door that no one can close in your face." So I made the offer. Not because I needed to impress anyone. Not because I wanted relatives whispering. Because I wanted a home that belonged to me fully. A home where my name was not an argument. A home where my success would not be treated like spare change for everybody else's emergency. The offer was accepted. I told Grace first. Grace Monroe was my best friend, my CFO, and the only woman I knew who could turn fear into a spreadsheet before breakfast. She screamed so loudly over the phone that I had to pull it away from my ear. "Naomi Bennett, you bought Willowmere?" "Almost. Closing is next Friday." "Almost is not nothing. We protect almost like it is already yours." I laughed. "You sound like Vivian." Because Vivian has sense. Vivian Hart was my attorney, and she had been saying the same thing. Until closing, keep everything tight. No unnecessary family involvement. No side promises. No emotional speeches. No family blessing language. No letting anyone call it our house. Vivian knew my family. Grace knew them better. I should have listened. But I told my mother. Not everything, just that I was buying a house. I wanted one small moment of normal joy. One phone call where my mother Patricia would say, "Baby, I am proud of you." No pressure. No comparison. No mention of Marcus. Just pride. For a second, she gave it to me. "Oh, Naomi," she said softly, "a house? That is wonderful." My chest warmed. "Thank you, Mom. Where is it?" I hesitated. "Near the lake." "How big?" "Big enough." There was a pause. That pause had history in it. Then she said, "You mean Willowmere?" I should have lied. Instead, I said, "Yes." Another pause. Then she whispered, $8 million? The warmth in her voice changed shape. Not gone, just different. Awe, fear, calculation. I heard it and ignored it, because sometimes daughters hear danger in their mother's voices and call it imagination, because the truth hurts too soon. That is a lot of house for one person, she said. There it was. I closed my eyes. Mom, I'm only saying baby. It's beautiful. I'm happy for you. But the first seed had already been planted. A lot of house for one person. By the next morning, my father called. Not to congratulate me. To ask questions. Your mother says you're buying Willowmere. Yes. With what financing? My financing. Naomi, don't be defensive. I'm your father. And I'm the buyer. He sighed. You should have told us before making such a large decision. Why? Because family should be involved in major moves. That sentence made my stomach tighten. Family should be involved. Not family should celebrate. Not family should support. Involved. I kept my voice calm. Dad, the decision is made. And Marcus knows? No. He will hear about it. Not from me. My father went quiet, then said the sentence that should have made me call Vivian immediately. Naomi, be careful that blessings do not divide the family. I looked at my phone after he hung up. Blessings do not divide the family. Number, entitlement does. But I still did not know how fast entitlement could move when given an address. 3 days before closing, Grace called me at 8:12 in the morning. Her voice was not loud. That scared me. Naomi, are you sitting down? I'm in my office. Sit properly. What happened? I just got a call from Denise. Denise was a realtor friend of Grace's, not my agent, but connected to half the serious property people in Bellwater. She was at Willowmere this morning, Grace said. My stomach tightened. Why? Her cousin is working on landscaping estimates for the seller. Okay. She saw Marcus there. The room went silent around me. My hand tightened around the phone. What? Marcus, Tasha, your parents, a designer, and a moving company representative. I stood up too fast. My chair rolled backward and hit the wall. Grace continued. Naomi, Denise heard your mother say the East Wing would be perfect for the children, and your father said closing would still happen Friday. My breath went cold. What children? Marcus's children. I could not speak. Grace's voice softened. I'm coming to you. No, I'm going there. Naomi, I'm going there. Then I'm meeting you there, and Vivian. I grabbed my bag, my keys, and the folder with the purchase agreement. My hands shook all the way to the car. Not from fear, from rage trying to become useful. Willowmere stood behind black iron gates and old trees. When I pulled up, the gate was open. Open. Like the house already belonged to people who had never earned the right to stand in its driveway. Marcus's truck was parked near the front steps. Tasha's SUV was beside it. My parents' sedan sat under the oak tree, and a white moving company van was parked near the garage. I sat in my car for 1 second, looking at the scene. This was not misunderstanding. This was planning. I stepped out. The front door opened before I reached it, and a young designer walked out carrying a tablet. She looked startled when she saw me. Can I help you? I smiled without warmth. That depends. Who hired you? She blinked. Mr. Bennett. Which one? Marcus Bennett. Of course. And what did he say this consultation was for? She shifted, uncomfortable now. Interior planning after family transfer. Family transfer. The words hit me like ice water. I walked past her into the house. My shoes clicked against the marble entry floor. Voices echoed from the main salon. My mother's voice first. I think Naomi can take the smaller suite if she insists on staying sometimes. But honestly, she travels so much. Then Tasha. The children will love the lake. Then Marcus. The office will be mine. I need somewhere proper to meet investors. I stepped into the doorway. Everyone froze. My mother's hand flew to her chest. Naomi. Marcus recovered first. He smiled. Too easily. Like a thief caught sitting at the table and deciding to call it dinner. Hey sis, you're early. I looked around. My father stood near the fireplace with folded arms. Tasha held fabric samples. A moving company man stood by the wall with a clipboard. There were sticky notes on the doors. East Suite, kids' rooms, Marcus office, guest room, family lounge. Not one note said Naomi. Not one. I turned to Marcus. What are you doing in my house? His smile thinned. Technically, it's not yours until Friday. Technically, I said. That did not answer my question. My father stepped forward. We need to talk calmly. No. We need to talk before you brought a moving company into a house I am buying. My mother's eyes filled immediately. Baby, please don't start angry. I laughed once, not because anything was funny, because my mother had opened the old drawer and pulled out the same tool. Do the wrong thing first, then manage Naomi's reaction. I looked at the designer. You can leave. She looked at Marcus. I turned sharply. Do not look at him. Look at me. This consultation is over. The designer swallowed, gathered her things, and hurried out. The moving company man followed. Smart man. When the front door closed, the room became too quiet. Marcus folded his arms. You embarrassed us. I stared at him. You brought strangers here to plan your life inside my house. He shrugged. We were being practical. My father said, Naomi, this purchase affects the whole family. No, it affects me. I am the buyer. My mother stepped closer. You are one woman, baby. There it was again. One woman. Like a curse. Like a legal category. Like proof that I should not own too much space. I looked at her. Finish that sentence carefully. She swallowed. You have no husband, no children. You don't need all this. Tasha looked down. Marcus did not. He looked proud. My father said, Marcus's family needs stability. His rental situation is uncertain. His children need room. His business needs a respectable address. And this house is too large to sit empty while you travel. I nodded slowly. So you gave it to him. My mother wiped tears from her cheek. We did not give it. We agreed on a family arrangement. Without me. My father's voice hardened. You would have said no. I stared at him. The honesty was almost refreshing. Exactly. Marcus stepped forward. Look, Naomi, nobody is taking anything from you. You still get to say you bought it. It's still in the family. We just need to structure it so it serves everyone. Everyone? Yes. Where do I live? My mother said softly. The lake cottage is beautiful. The lake cottage. The small guest cottage near the water. The one I had imagined turning into a writing studio. They had moved me out of the main house before I even closed. My father said, You like quiet. It suits you. I looked at him. You are offering me a cottage on property I am buying, so Marcus can have the main house. Don't twist it. I didn't twist it. I repeated it. Marcus laughed. You always make yourself a victim. That did it. Not the sticky notes. Not the moving van. Not even the cottage. That sentence. Because people who benefit from your silence always call you a victim the moment you describe what they are doing. I opened my folder and pulled out the purchase agreement. My name is on this contract. My father lifted his chin. For now. The air changed. Grace would later tell me that when a room goes quiet after 2 words, it is because the devil accidentally read the meeting agenda out loud. For now. I looked at my father. What did you do? My mother whispered, Leonard. I turned to her. What did he do? Marcus said, Nothing that isn't fair. My father pulled a document from inside his jacket. I spoke with Darren Cole. Darren. Of course. The same cheap legal fixer who always appeared when my family wanted something wrong to look official. My father continued. He drafted a family purchase amendment. You will still provide the closing funds, but the beneficial occupancy and future equity transfer will be assigned to Marcus's family over time. For a moment, I could not breathe. You want me to buy the house and transfer equity to Marcus? My mother cried harder. Baby, it keeps the peace. I looked at her. No, it keeps Marcus comfortable. My father held out the document. You can sign after closing. I did not take it. Marcus said, we already spoke to your agent about adding family access instructions. My head snapped toward him. You contacted my agent? Dad did. I turned to my father. What exactly did you say? He hesitated. Then I knew. You told them I agreed. My father did not answer. My mother whispered, we only said the family would be involved. I stepped back. The betrayal had moved beyond family pressure. They were interfering with a closing. My money, my contract, my future home. I looked around the room one last time. The sticky notes, the fabric samples, the furniture measurements, the family standing inside my dream like I was a difficult guest at their blessing. Then I said quietly, thank you. My mother blinked. For what? For showing me before Friday. Marcus frowned. What does that mean? I turned toward the front door. My father called after me. Naomi, don't be foolish. If you walk away from this, you lose the house. I stopped, looked back. No, Dad. If I sign with this lie attached, I lose myself. Then I walked out. Before I continue, tell me where you are watching from tonight, and if your family has ever tried to move into your dream before you even got the keys. Stay with this story, because my parents thought catching them before closing meant they could still pressure me. They did not know that by sunrise the next morning, I would stop the closing, freeze the deal, and expose the plan they were hiding behind my name. Grace and Vivian were waiting in the driveway when I came out. Grace took one look at my face and said, "How bad?" I handed Vivian the amendment my father had tried to show me, because before leaving, I had taken a photo of every page while they were still arguing behind me. Vivian zoomed in on the document. Her face went still. That was never good. Grace leaned over her shoulder. "What is it?" Vivian did not answer immediately. She read, then read again, then said, "Naomi, this is not only family pressure. This is attempted transaction interference." My stomach tightened. "In simple English?" Grace answered before Vivian could. "They tried to turn your $8 million closing into a family timeshare scam with your money." Vivian continued, "This amendment claims you intend to grant occupancy, management authority, and future equity consideration to Marcus Bennett, with Leonard and Patricia Bennett as family witnesses. They never told me the full thing." Vivian's eyes hardened. "It gets worse." Of course it did. She scrolled lower. "This section suggests that if you decline to execute the post-closing transfer, your family may claim reliance damages for improvements, planning costs, relocation expenses, and emotional hardship." Grace's mouth fell open. Emotional hardship? For not stealing smoothly? Vivian looked toward the house. They were creating a record. Designer visit, moving consultation, room assignments, witnesses. If you closed and then refused, they could pressure you with claims that they relied on your promise. My knees almost weakened. Grace grabbed my arm. "Naomi, I'm okay." "No, you're not." "I know." Vivian said, "Did your father contact your agent?" "Yes." Marcus said he did. "Did he contact the closing attorney?" "I don't know. We find out now." In the driveway of Willowmere, while my family stood inside the house probably telling themselves I was dramatic, Vivian made 4 calls. My agent, the seller's agent, the escrow officer, the closing attorney. By the second call, her voice had become sharper. By the third, Grace was already taking notes. By the fourth, I knew. My father had called the closing office claiming he was family advisor and asking whether additional occupancy language could be added after closing. Marcus had emailed the moving company saying possession was expected immediately following family-funded closing. Family-funded. My money had become family-funded. Tasha had contacted a designer using my future address. My mother had called the seller's agent and said I wanted the family to have smooth access after closing. Each action alone might have looked like overexcited relatives. Together, they were a pattern. Vivian ended the final call and looked at me. "We stopped the closing temporarily." My chest hurt. "Will I lose the house?" Maybe not, but we cannot close under clouded communication. Grace squeezed my arm. Better to pause a dream than sign a trap. I nodded, but my throat burned. Because that is the part people do not understand. Even when you do the smart thing, grief still comes. Willowmere had been so close. I had measured curtains. Chosen a dining table. Imagine Grandma Ruth's photo in the library. Planned where my books would go. Already loved the morning light in the kitchen. And now my family had touched it with entitlement. I turned and looked at the house. The front door opened. Marcus stepped onto the porch. "What are you three doing?" Grace smiled. "Saving Naomi from the Bennett family real estate fraud experience." He glared. Vivian stepped forward. "Marcus, do not contact any party connected to this transaction again. Do not enter this property again. Do not represent any interest in this home." Marcus laughed. "You don't scare me." Vivian smiled politely. "That is not required for compliance." My father came out behind him. "Naomi, come inside." "No." My mother stood behind my father, crying. "Baby, we just want to talk." I looked at her. "No, you wanted to plan. You did that already." My father's voice lowered. "You are making a mistake." I held his gaze. "No, I caught one." The closing was paused that afternoon. My agent was horrified. The seller was angry at first, then understanding when Vivian explained that unauthorized relatives had entered the property and represented future rights. The seller's attorney required a clean reauthorization process, stronger access controls, and written confirmation that no family arrangement existed. The gate code was changed. The key box was removed. All showings stopped. Every communication had to go through legal channels. For 24 hours, I did not know if Willowmere would still be mine. That night, my mother called 12 times. I did not answer. She left one voicemail. "Naomi, your father only wanted to protect the family. Marcus already told the children they might have rooms. Please don't punish them. You know how much space that house has? We can all be happy if you stop listening to Grace and Vivian." I saved the voicemail. Not because I wanted to suffer. Because Vivian said evidence often arrives wearing a mother's voice. Marcus texted. "You are selfish beyond belief." Then, imagine taking rooms from kids. Then, you don't even have a family. I stared at that one for a long time. You don't even have a family. There it was again. Because I had no husband and no children, my home was considered available. Because I had built alone, everyone thought my achievement lacked witnesses. Because I did not have a child's backpack in a hallway, my hallway could be reassigned. Grace found me sitting in my office with the message open. She took the phone gently. "Do not let a man who tried to steal your house define family." I whispered, "What if I lose Willowmere?" She sat beside me. "Then we find another house." "I don't want another house." "I know. I wanted this one." "I know," I cried then. Not politely. Hard. Grace held me and said nothing for a while. Then she whispered, "You are allowed to grieve something you protected yourself from." That sentence helped. The next morning, Vivian called. "We have options." I sat up. Good options? Strong options. Strong options. The seller had agreed to proceed if I signed an affidavit stating no family co-buyer, occupant, equity recipient, advisor, or beneficial owner existed. If my financing documents were updated to reflect sole occupancy intent. If the final walkthrough happened with only me, my agent, Vivian, and security. And if closing occurred with explicit fraud warnings sent to my relatives. Vivian also recommended a temporary restraining communication notice if my family continued contacting parties. Grace recommended changing every future lock twice. I agreed to all of it. Then came the harder part. Vivian said, "Naomi, I need you to decide whether Marcus will ever be allowed on the property after closing." No. The answer came fast. Faster than I expected. "Your parents?" I closed my eyes. My mother crying. My father saying for now. The lake cottage. The sticky notes. No, I said. Not until I invite them. And I will not invite them soon. Good. Grace nodded. House rules before housewarming. But my family did not stop. That afternoon, my father came to my office. He arrived without appointment, wearing his dark suit and father face. The receptionist called up. Ms. Bennett, your father is here. Grace looked at me. No. I almost said no. Then decided yes. Not alone. Vivian joined by speakerphone. Grace stayed in the room. My father entered and looked at both of them. This is family business. Grace leaned back. Then you should have brought honesty. We all brought ours. He ignored her and turned to me. Naomi, this has gone too far. I said nothing. He continued, you are allowing outsiders to turn you against your blood. Dad, you contacted my closing office. I asked questions. You claimed involvement. I am involved. I am your father. I looked at him. That is not a title company role. His jaw tightened. Marcus's family is in crisis. What crisis? They need stability. No, they want upgrade. He flinched. His children were excited. Because adults lied to them. His voice sharpened. You are being cruel. No, Dad. Cruel is telling children they can move into a house their aunt did not offer. He looked away. That landed. I leaned forward. What was the plan? What was the plan? He said nothing. Dad, he sighed. Your mother thought if you saw the children choosing rooms, you would soften. My chest went cold. Grace whispered, wow. Vivian's voice came through the phone, calm and dangerous. Mr. Bennett, are you stating that children were intentionally used to pressure Naomi into post-closing occupancy? My father's face changed. I am not answering legal traps. I laughed softly. That means yes. He looked at me. Naomi, you have become hard. No, I said. I have become harder to steal from. His face twisted with pain or anger. Maybe both. You think we are thieves? I think you walked through my future house with a moving company before I closed and told people Marcus would live there. He did not answer. I continued. You tried to make a record, designer. Moving van, room assignments, children's expectations, family witnesses. You wanted me trapped by guilt, documents, and public embarrassment. His voice dropped. Marcus needs a chance. Then let him buy one. He cannot afford Willowmere. Neither can he afford the consequences of thinking that makes it his. My father stood. This house will divide us. No, Dad, the plan did. He left without saying goodbye. That night, my mother sent a message. Your father came home very upset. I hope you are proud. I typed several replies, deleted them all, then sent one. I am not discussing Willowmere with you again. Do not contact anyone involved in my closing. Do not enter the property. Do not use Marcus's children to pressure me. She replied, I don't recognize you anymore. I stared at the screen, then wrote, that is because I stopped disappearing. She did not answer. Closing day arrived with no celebration, just nerves. Vivian came with me. Grace came too, because she said her blood pressure deserved closure. The final walkthrough felt strange. Willowmere was quiet. The sticky notes were gone. The rooms were empty again. The light moved across the floors like nothing had happened. But I saw ghosts of their plan everywhere. Marcus in the office. Tasha in the east wing. My mother pointing toward the lake cottage. My father saying for now. In the library. I stopped. The fireplace was cold. Built-in shelves lined the walls. This was the room I had loved most. Grace stood beside me. Still yours in your heart? I looked around. Slowly, my breathing eased. Yes, Vivian said. Good. Now let's make it yours in law. At the closing table, every document felt heavier than it should have. I signed carefully, slowly, reading each page. Initialing where needed. No family witnesses. No side agreements. No post-closing occupancy. No hidden transfers. No beneficial equity. No Marcus. When the final document was signed, the closing attorney placed the keys in front of me. For a moment, I could not touch them. Grace whispered, "Naomi." I picked them up. They were cold. Real. Mine. I cried quietly. Not because buying the house solved everything, because I had almost lost it before owning it. And this time, I did not sign because someone cried. We went straight to Willowmere. Vivian insisted the locksmith meet us there. Security too. Every lock changed. Every code reset. Cameras activated. Gate reprogrammed. Access list created. Only Naomi. Grace. Vivian. Security. No family. I walked through the house after everyone left. Alone. The silence was enormous. Not lonely. Enormous. The kind of silence a woman has to grow into after years of living as everyone's emergency contact. I stood in the main hall and said out loud, "This is my home." My voice echoed. I said it again. "This is my home." Then I walked to the lake cottage, the one they had offered me like a consolation prize on my own land. It was small and beautiful, with old windows, pale wood floors, and a view of the water. I stood inside it for a long time. Then I laughed. Not sadly. Freely. They thought putting me here would shrink me. Instead, I turned it into what I originally wanted. A writing studio. On the wall, I framed Grandma Ruth's note. "By the door, no one can close in your face." Under it, Grace later added a second line. "And don't give them the gate code." I told her it was too direct. She said, "So was the attempted cottage exile." She won. My family did not accept the boundary quietly. Marcus came to the gate 2 days after closing. Security footage showed him standing there with folded arms, pressing the intercom again and again. I did not answer. He called. I did not answer. He texted. "Open the gate. We need to talk like adults." Then, "The kids are crying." Then, "You made promises." I forwarded everything to Vivian. She sent a formal warning. The next day, my mother came. Alone. She stood outside the gate holding a covered dish. That hurt more, because part of me wanted to open. Part of me wanted to believe soup meant apology. But Vivian's voice lived in my head. Do not open property boundaries before emotional ones are clear. I spoke through the intercom. "Mom?" She looked up. Her face crumpled. "Baby, please. I brought food. I'm not accepting visitors. I am your mother. I know. Open the gate." "No." Her eyes filled. "Naomi, I cannot believe you are keeping me outside like a stranger." I looked at her through the camera. "You plan to move me outside like a guest." She covered her mouth. The truth hit her. "Good." She whispered, "I was wrong." I waited. She looked small on the screen, but I had learned that small did not always mean safe. "For what specifically?" I asked. She blinked. "What?" "What were you wrong about?" She wiped her face. "For wanting Marcus to have the house. And for bringing the children into it. And for saying you were one woman." My throat tightened. At least she had heard herself. "And?" She closed her eyes. "For thinking your success meant your dream was available." That one reached me. I breathed slowly. "I hear you. Will you open the gate?" "No." She flinched. "But I hear you," I said. "That is all I can give today." She cried, but she did not argue. She left the dish with security. I did not eat it. Not because I hated her, because I was not ready to receive comfort from the same hands that had arranged my removal. My father took longer. He did not apologize for months. He sent messages through relatives. Aunt Linda called once. "Your father is telling people Grace and Vivian poisoned you." I sighed. Of course. I told him if poison makes a woman keep her $8 million house, send me a bottle. I laughed so hard I cried. Aunt Linda was Grandma Ruth's old friend and my unofficial spiritual guard dog. She came to Willowmere 2 weeks after closing. I opened the gate for her. She walked through the house slowly, touching walls, nodding like she was inspecting a living thing. When we reached the library, she said, "Ruth would have loved this room. I wish she could see it." "She can. Don't start arguing theology with me." I smiled. Then she looked at me. "Your family will call you cold. They already have. They will call the house too big." "They have. They will say you chose property over blood." "Yes." Aunt Linda pointed her cane toward the window. "Then tell them blood should not need your deed to feel loved." I wrote that down later. The first Christmas at Willowmere, I did not invite my family. That was hard. Harder than I expected. The dining table arrived. The one I had chosen before everything happened. Long, dark wood. Enough seats for people I trusted. Grace came. Vivian came. Aunt Linda came. Marisol came with her daughter. Dr. Elaine came. A few women from the Bennett ClearPath Mentorship Program came. We cooked, laughed, played music, sat in the library after dinner. No one asked for a room. No one measured anything. No one said the house was too big for me. At the end of the night, Grace lifted a glass. "To Willowmere," she said. "The house Naomi bought, almost lost, protected, and now fills only with people who understand invitation." I cried. Aunt Linda said, "Don't cry too much. Expensive floors still need wiping." We laughed, but grief still came later. After everyone left, I walked through the quiet house. The lights glowed softly. The lake was dark outside. I stood at the stairs and thought about the family Christmas that could have been. Not the real one, the fantasy. My mother proud, my father calm. Marcus respectful. Children laughing because they were invited, not used. Tasha bringing dessert. No schemes, no guilt, no hidden documents. That fantasy hurt. Letting go of what people are not can feel like grieving the dead while they are still alive. Months passed. Willowmere became truly mine. The library filled with books. The kitchen smelled like tea, cinnamon, and pepper soup. The lake cottage became my studio. The East Wing became guest rooms for women in my leadership retreat program. Not family overflow. Chosen purpose. The Willowmere initiative began almost by accident. A young woman in my company, Alana, came to me after her parents tried to pressure her into giving up a scholarship because her brother needed help with his business. She said, "I don't know why I feel guilty for wanting my own life." I brought her to Willowmere for a weekend retreat with 2 other young women dealing with family pressure. We sat in the sunroom and talked about documents, boundaries, guilt, money, housing, and the danger of being called selfish by people who benefit from your sacrifice. That weekend became a program, then a foundation, the Willowmere Door Project. It helped women protect major life decisions before family pressure turned them into family property, home purchases, scholarships, business ownership, inheritance, divorce settlements, promotions, first apartments, relocations. We taught them to ask, who is being included without my consent? Who is calling my blessing ours? Who benefits if I feel guilty? What promise did I never make? What paper am I being rushed to sign? Why is my space being counted before I hold the key? Vivian taught the legal sessions. Grace taught financial boundaries. I taught the emotional part. Aunt Linda taught common sense, which mostly sounded like holy insults. The most popular workshop was called Before Closing, because that was the lesson. Catch the plan before closing, before you sign, before you move, before the boxes arrive, before the children are told, before the guilt becomes public, before your dream becomes someone else's address. At the first workshop, I told the full Willowmere story. When I said my mother wanted me to live in the lake cottage, women gasped. One woman in the front whispered, "My family tried to put me in my own basement." Another said, They told me my brother needed my apartment because I worked too much to enjoy it. Another said, my parents said since I am unmarried, my house should help the family. I looked around the room and felt something shift. My story was not strange. It was patterned. That made me sad, then powerful, because patterns can be taught, named, and broken. My father finally came to Willowmere 9 months after closing, not through the gate. To the gate. He called first. That was new. I would like to speak, he said. About what? What I did. I agreed to meet him outside in the garden, not inside the house. Boundaries can have weather. He arrived alone. No mother. No Marcus. No papers. He looked at Willowmere like a man visiting a country he had tried to invade and failed. We sat on a bench near the roses. For a while, he said nothing. Then he spoke. I was wrong. I waited. For what specifically? I asked. His mouth tightened. He knew the question now. For contacting your closing office. For telling myself I was advising when I was interfering. For helping Marcus plan rooms. For saying the house was yours for now. For believing one woman did not need all this. My throat tightened. And? He looked at the lake. For thinking Marcus's family counted more because it looked more traditional. That one hurt deepest. Because it was true. He had looked at Marcus, Tasha, and the children and seen family. He had looked at me and seen surplus. I built a life, I said. I know. No, Dad, I don't think you did know. I think you saw my life as incomplete, so you thought it could be rearranged. He closed his eyes. Yes. The honesty sat between us. Heavy, necessary. I am sorry, Naomi. I nodded. I hear you. He looked toward the house. May I see it? No. He flinched, but did not argue. Not today, I said. He nodded slowly. Okay. That okay mattered. It was the first time my father accepted a no without punishing me with silence. My mother came later, after writing a real letter. Naomi, I am sorry for saying Willowmere was too much for one woman. I am sorry for letting Marcus and Tasha plan rooms. I am sorry for thinking of the lake cottage as a place for you before you even had keys. I am sorry for telling the children about rooms that were not ours to promise. I am sorry for turning your dream into a solution for your brother's life. You did not break the family by closing alone. We broke trust by planning without you. Mom. I read that line many times. We broke trust by planning without you. Yes, that was the wound. She came to the gate 2 weeks after the letter. This time, I opened it. Not because all was healed. Because accountability had started sounding less like performance and more like truth. I gave her a tour of only the downstairs. She cried in the library. This room suits you, she whispered. I know. She looked at me. I should have said that first. Yes. She nodded. No defense. Growth. I did not show her the lake cottage. Not yet. That room still needed to belong only to me. Marcus did not apologize for a long time. At first, he raged. He told relatives I stole a family opportunity. He said I cared more about walls than children. He said Grace manipulated me. He said Vivian turned me into a legal robot. Then life did what truth often does. It waited. His rental situation became uncomfortable, but not tragic. He found another place. Smaller than Willowmere, bigger than accountability deserved. Tasha eventually admitted she had been uneasy from the beginning. She called me one afternoon. I'm sorry, she said. For what specifically? For walking through Willowmere with fabric samples. For letting my children believe they might have rooms there. For wanting your house because I was tired of instability with Marcus. For not saying no when your mother suggested the cottage for you. I was quiet. She cried. I knew it was wrong, but I wanted it to be easy. That was honest. A lot of harm begins with someone wanting ease more than justice. I hear you, I said. I don't expect to be invited. Good? She laughed through tears. Not because it was funny, because honesty sometimes gives relief even without reward. Marcus's apology came 2 years later. By then, the Willowmere Door Project had grown. The story had quietly spread among women's groups and property workshops, though I never used my family's full names publicly. Marcus had lost more than the house. He lost the family habit of rescuing him without questions. He lost Tasha's blind support. He lost my parents' automatic defense. He lost the belief that his need could open every door. He asked to meet at Vivian's office. That told me he had changed at least enough to know where truth lived. He sat across from me, hands folded. No smile. No performance. "I am sorry," he said. I waited. For what specifically? For planning to take Willowmere, for bringing the designer, for calling the moving company, for letting the kids think they would live there, for telling Dad to contact the closing office, for saying you did not have a family. That last one tightened my chest. He looked ashamed. I said that because I knew it would hurt. Yes, I wanted you to feel like your life was smaller than mine. Why? He looked down. Because I was jealous that yours was working. There it was. Clean. Ugly. Useful. I thought having a wife and kids made me more deserving, but really I wanted your success to fix what I was failing to build. I looked at him for a long moment. "I hear you." He nodded. "I know that doesn't mean forgiveness." "No, it doesn't." "Okay." For once, okay meant okay. Not punishment. Not pressure. Just acceptance. Willowmere stayed mine. Completely. I hosted retreats, small dinners, quiet holidays, legal workshops, garden mornings, lake walks. I filled the house with chosen life, not noise. Life. Sometimes my parents visited. By invitation. They never brought overnight bags. Marcus came once for a family lunch 3 years later. He stood in the foyer and looked around. "Beautiful," he said. "Yes. I'm glad you kept it." That surprised me. "Are you?" He nodded. "I wouldn't have known what to do with it." I smiled slightly. "No, you wouldn't have." He laughed. No anger. Progress. The lake cottage became my favorite place, not because I had been pushed toward it, because I chose it. That difference healed something in me. In that cottage, I wrote speeches for the Willowmere Door Project. I wrote letters to women buying first homes. I wrote notes to myself when old guilt returned. One note stayed above my desk. A dream is not too big because someone else wants it. Grace framed it. Of course. Years later, on the 5th anniversary of closing, we held a gathering at Willowmere. Not a housewarming, a key ceremony. The Willowmere Door Project had helped 100 women protect homes, apartments, scholarships, businesses, or inheritance from family pressure before signing. We invited them back. Each woman brought a key. Some to a house. Some to an office. Some to a dorm room. Some to a storage unit that held belongings after escape. Some symbolic. We hung them on a large wooden board in the sunroom. 100 keys. 100 doors. 100 lives not handed away. I stood before them and told the truth. This house almost became a trap before it became my home. My family thought they could use children, parents, paperwork, and timing to make me surrender a dream I had not even closed on yet. But catching the plan early saved me, and that is why this project exists, to help women catch the plan before the signature. A woman raised her hand and said, "What if catching it means losing the dream?" The room went quiet. I nodded. That can happen, because it can. Sometimes protecting yourself costs the thing you wanted. I continued. But losing a dream because you refused a trap is different from living inside the trap and calling it a dream. If something is yours, secure it clean. If it cannot be secured clean, walk away clean. You can build again. What you cannot do is sign your piece away just to keep the picture. The women stood. Applause filled the sunroom. Grace cried. Aunt Linda said she was sweating through her eyes. Vivian pretended to review a document. My mother, sitting near the back, wiped her face. After the ceremony, she came to me. "I am proud of you," she said. I looked at her. For years, I had wanted that sentence. Now it arrived in the right room. Without asking for anything. "Thank you," I said. My father stood beside her. "We were wrong about the house being too big," he said. I waited. He looked toward the sunroom full of women. It was not too big. We were thinking too small. That one made me cry. The house had not changed. Their vision had. That mattered. My parents gave my $8 million dream house to my brother. Then I caught their plan before closing. People love the dramatic part. The open gate. The moving van. The sticky notes on doors. The lake cottage. The family amendment. The closing paused. The gate codes changed. The keys finally placed in my hand. I understand. It is dramatic. But the real story is about timing. How much of a woman's life can be saved when she catches the plan before the signature? Before guilt hardens into agreement? Before a child's excitement becomes evidence? Before a father's phone call becomes assumed consent? Before a mother's tears become moral debt? Before a brother's need becomes occupancy? Before family becomes a hidden clause? If you are listening and you are about to buy a house, accept an inheritance, start a business, sign a settlement, receive a scholarship, or step into any dream people around you might want to claim, be careful. Joy is beautiful, but protect it. Do not tell everyone too early. Do not let relatives visit before boundaries are clear. Do not let anyone speak to your agent, lawyer, lender, school, employer, or partner on your behalf without written permission. Do not let people say "we" when the commitment is yours. Do not ignore small phrases. Too much house for one person. Family should be involved. Blessings should be shared. Your brother needs stability. The children already know. You can stay in the cottage. It is yours for now. Listen, those phrases are not always love. Sometimes they are ladders being placed against your walls. Ask questions. Who invited you? Who told you this was available? Who gave permission? What document are you relying on? Why was I not included? Why does my no surprise you if you knew it was mine? And when you catch the plan, do not waste all your energy proving you are hurt. Pause the closing. Call Vivian. Call Grace. Notify every party. Change the codes. Freeze the communication. Protect the dream or walk away before the trap closes. Do not let anyone move into your future before you do. Do not let them count your rooms before you receive your keys. Do not let them call your dream selfish because they wanted it for someone else. A woman does not need a husband to deserve a home. She does not need children to justify space. She does not need family approval to own peace. And she does not have to shrink into the lake cottage so a man who did not pay for the main house can feel stable. Today, Willowmere still stands behind the black iron gate. The library holds Grandma Ruth's books. The kitchen catches morning light. The lake cottage holds my writing desk. The east wing welcomes women who come by invitation, not entitlement. The gate code changes often. Grace says that is excessive. Then she changes it again herself. Near the front door, I keep the original closing pen in a glass case. Under it, a plaque reads, "She signed after the lie was removed." Vivian wrote that. Grace wanted it to say, "No Marcus beyond this point." I said no. Aunt Linda said both were spiritually true. My name is Naomi Bennett. My parents tried to give my dream house to my brother before I even held the keys. But I caught their plan before closing. I paused the deal. Cleared the lie. Signed clean. Changed the locks. Built the Willowmere door project. And learned that sometimes protecting your dream means standing at the gate and letting the people who planned without you remain exactly where they belong, outside.